We'd like to thank Sheila Gason and her family for sponsoring this week's drasha in memory of Dr. Ellen Gason, Eliyahu ben Menachem Mendel HaKohen, Zichrono Livracha, beloved husband, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. The day that the video is coming out is his first yortzeit. I'm sure I speak on behalf of many, many in our community in saying that though he surely was a beloved member of his family, he was very much also a beloved member of our community. Obviously, he passed away this time of year last summer, and I remember thinking to myself that for our community, what a tragically appropriate way to mark the beginning of the 3-week period of mourning, to lose such a beloved member of our community. Mrs. Gason and her entire family should merit much nechama, much consolation, and always be warmed by beautiful, beautiful memories of a very beautiful human being. His neshama should have an aliyah. I also would like to just bring to everyone's attention that we celebrated a very special accomplishment in Shul this past week. I've had this chus for almost 15 years of learning Chumash together with a very special group of women once a week. And this past Wednesday night, we made a siyum on learning all of Chumash, a project that spanned almost 15 years. So, kol hakavod to all of the women who have participated in this year over the years. It's truly been a special experience for me personally, and a schus for us as a shul that we've had such a wonderful project. And shir, the shir continues. We're currently learning Sefer Yoshua. Any women who would like to join us, we meet Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. on the shul's Zoom platform. Moshe Rabbeinu speaks to God in this week's Parsha, and he asks God to clarify who is intended as his successor. And it's fascinating to hear Moshe Rabbeinu describe what a leader needs to be from the perspective of the ultimate leader of the Jewish people, talking about what's necessary to what necessary qualities need to be in a leader is a remarkable thing to think about. And in Perek Chav Zayin, Pasuk Yud Zayin, chapter 27, verse 17, in the middle of the description, Moshe Rabbeinu says, Asher Yetzei Lifneihem, needs to be a person who will go out before them, Vasher Yavo Lifneihem, a person who will come before them, Vasher Yotziyim, Vasher Yiviyim, person who will bring them out, person who will bring them in. And the congregation of God should not be like sheep without a shepherd. A lot of moving around, going out, coming, bringing in, bringing out. What's the significance of this person with leadership qualities that he has to walk out before the people and come back before the people? So Rashi cites a very interesting idea. Rashi says that what Moshe Rabbeinu is emphasizing is that the type of person who leads the Jewish people has to be the type of person who leads the charge when they have military situations. The leader can't be someone who's going to sit back at home and send the soldiers out. The leader has to be someone, as Moshe himself did, who rolls up his sleeves and is at the front of the fight. So it needs to be a person who will go out before them and who will come before them, that whichever way the war is going, this person will be in the forefront. And presumably by extension, because they're the type of person who's ready to jump out in front, the people will follow. That's one idea Rashi says. It's a very important thing to think about. Another idea cited by Rashi, also significant, is that this leader's personal merits will always be a significant merit for the people, whether they're coming or going. And this speaks to the fact that we believe in Yiddishkeit that the ideal leader is not only a person with charisma and various leadership qualities that we so much look for and respect, but it needs to be a person of personal piety. That's another idea. But what I'd like to share with you is a very interesting comment from Rav Hirsch. Rav Hirsch cites a pasuk in the context of Shlomo HaMelech, where Shlomo HaMelech says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he's so young, and is he really fit to be the king of the Jewish people? He says, Vanochi nar katan, I'm a young lad, lo edat seisvavo. I don't know how to go out and how to come. Now, Shlomo Melech really did not have military contexts during his rule. So what point is Shlomo HaMelech saying when he says, I don't know how to go out and how to come? And Rav Hirsch suggests that the meaning of the pasuk in the context of Shlomo Melech is not one of military context. And Rav Hirsch suggests that what Shlomo Melech means, that I don't know what to do, is that to go out is for a person to conduct themselves in the appropriate way in the public arena, and to come is for a person to conduct oneself in the appropriate way in the privacy of one's own home and in very private interactions. And that's what Shlomo Melech is saying. I'm a young man. I'm young. I don't know how to conduct myself. How am I supposed to be the king of Israel? And Rav Hirsch says that if you understand the pasuk by Shlomo Melech that way, that's another way you can understand the pasuk in this week's parsha. Moshe Rabbeinu says that what the Jewish people need is the Jewish people need someone who will be the ideal role model in how they'll conduct themselves as people. Asher Yetzei Lefnehem, that this person will be the type to go out before them in public settings to conduct himself in the right way, in the way that people can look at and say, that's the way a person is supposed to be. Vasher Yavo Lefnehem, and that whether it be in one's family interactions, whether it be in very quiet interactions with other members of the nation, as one is coming in a more private way, they conduct themselves in the appropriate way. And then, says Rav Hirsch, Vasher Yotziem, Vasher Yiviem, if the Jewish people will have such a leader that they can look at and they can see and they can learn from in his public actions, in his private actions, then indeed they'll follow suit. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu was asking God for, that there should be a successor that will be an ideal role model for the people in how they are to conduct themselves in their lives. And surely there's a long list of qualities that one would be looking for when trying to find the ideal leader. But the point the pasuk would be making is that personal conduct is essential. And I think this is a very significant idea for us to reflect on, particularly in these challenging times. You know, I'm having a lot of conversations with a lot of people about the challenges in their lives. We're all having challenges right now. And one of the greatest frustrations that is expressed to me numerous times, and I really feel it, I very well can relate to it in my own personal life, is the feeling of inadequacy that parents have towards how they're raising their children in these very challenging times. And the feelings that they're not doing enough for them, or not creating a positive enough context for them, or not creating a rich enough context for them. And I found myself making the point in various conversations that I'd like to share with you for just a few moments here, which is one of the greatest things a parent can ever convey to a child. By the way, of a vast range of ages, by the way. It doesn't have to be a child still living in the home. But let's think for a moment about children in the home. One of the greatest things a parent can convey to a child is modeling appropriate behavior. So just think to yourself. We have a situation. What do we want for our children? In general in life, what do we want for our children? Yes, we hope that our children will be successful in their lives. Yes, we hope that our children will live a religiously vibrant life. Yes, we hope that our children will get along with each other. all these different things. All these different things are very important. What about resiliency? Do we hope that our children will be the types of people that when things don't go their way, they'll be able to pick themselves up and make the best of a difficult situation? If I were to really think about it, if you were to ask me to make a list, not during COVID, if you were to ask me to make a list in general, what qualities would I hope to successfully nurture within my children? Resiliency would be a very big one on the list, a very big one. So we can give drushos and give lectures and read books from today until tomorrow to our dear children about the importance of resiliency. If some way, somehow, we can model resiliency for them in these difficult times, we will be doing tremendous things for them. Better than the best camp, better than the best amusement park trip, better than the best visit to a sporting event. If our children, whether or not they'll remember it, maybe, my guess is, some of them might remember specific circumstances, but my guess is it's much more in the subconscious. But if our children see us model for them that things were clearly challenging, and yet we kept a positive attitude, and we kept our head about us, and we figured out the best way to make the most out of a difficult situation, we will be giving them one of the greatest gifts we might ever give them in our lives. And that's such a valuable thing to think about. It's okay for our children to see that we're frustrated. That's okay. Let them see that there's such a thing as a frustrating example in life, that things happen, even to adults things happen, and yet we make the most of it. I want to give you another thing to think about. We all are letting something give somewhere. Whatever our age, whatever our personal circumstances, we're all letting something give somewhere. Isn't it an interesting thing to think about of what we're conveying to our children when they see what we're compromising on and what we're not compromising on? And I assure you, they're figuring it out. You know they are. And to be honest with you, none of us are perfect. And my guess is that my children are seeing certain things that I'm compromising on, that it's probably not the most flattering thing that I'm compromising on those things. But I hope that my children can also appreciate that there are areas that they see from myself, from my wife, that are so important to us that despite the difficulties, we're towing the line. So this is just a basic idea, hopefully turning things to a little bit more of a positive perspective. And it's not only for parents and children. It's not only for parents and children in the home. It's not only for parents and children outside the home. It could be modeling that we do for our adult children. It could be modeling that we do for our grandchildren. It could be modeling that we do for family, friends. It could be modeling that we do for young people that we know in some way or another, across the spectrum. But according to Rav Hirsch's pshat in the pasuk, it was so important to Moshe Rabbeinu that the next leader should be someone who wouldn't just talk about the way the people should act, but should model the way the people should act. It's interesting, we learn so much about who we are from how we do certain things. We know, of course, we're beginning 3 weeks now, the classic period of mourning on the Jewish calendar. So many have remarked in different contexts that the fact that we mourn for a temple, for 2 temples that have been destroyed so very many years ago, the fact that we still remember that, the fact that so much of our mourning is focused on how we think as a nation, even when we mourn, it says so much about who we are as a people. The same is true in each and every one of our homes, in each and every one of our personal lives. In this very difficult time, the manner in which we conduct ourselves says so much about who we truly are, and none of us are perfect, and it's all right to not be perfect. But let it be that we sincerely think and reflect about what lessons we're conveying to our children. With Hashem's help, we should get out of this challenging time, all of us healthy and well, and those people around us and we ourselves should learn great lessons from the experience. Have a wonderful Shabbos.